Hello, everybody. It's Fernando Lavastida here once again in another episode of Martechify. Just to remind you, Martechify is a connected learning community where marketing professionals can share ideas, best practices, and success stories to help stay current in today's, I would say, mind-numbingly fast-changing technology environment. Really pleased, very honored to actually have today Dave Chmielewski. How do you pronounce your name, Dave?
It's Chmielewski.
Chmielewski. Okay, Dave Chmielewski. He's the senior manager of growth marketing at BigPanda. How are you doing today in the North Shore of Long Island? We were talking about that off. How are things over there in the weather and everything?
Everything's great. A little snowy these last couple days. I'm not a big fan of the snow, but it's one of those things of living in the Northeast.
Exactly. Well, I'm actually from Austin, and we hardly get any snow. So,
Well, you can have this one.
so first of all, I wanted to know what does Big Panda do for the viewers, listeners today? Tell me about Big Panda a little bit.
Sure. Big Panda leverages AIOps, so it enables your organization to implement AI to help your ITSM and your IT ops organizations cut back on the alert noise and the ticketing, become more efficient within your organization, save time and money while increasing your mean time to resolution when you're discovering issues within your company network or the companies that you service.
Got it, got it, got it. And so, was this founded not too long ago, or
Yeah,
what's
it is a youngish kind of company. I say within the last decade or so. I've only been here 4.5 months, so still
okay?
learning where the things are.
Where the things are, where they keep the snacks in the the kitchen. If you ever go into the office, right? So I'm sure it's a work at home, a remote work environment too, I guess.
Yeah, they're based in Redwood City, California.
Okay, okay, gotcha. So, I wanted to see if you could run us through a little bit about your career trajectory. You started off life, it looks like, way back when you were at, doing, enterprise rent a car, telesales rep. That was actually how I started my life, as a cold calling guy, all the way to a growth marketing, a senior manager of growth marketing at a technology startup. Kind of help us understand how you got from there to here.
It's kind of I like to say it's an interesting journey in that when I graduated college, I kind of thought I wanted to get into public relations and do PR. And the issue was at the time, nobody wanted to hire anybody without experience. So I was really, really struggling with that. I was a little bit lost. Uh, Enterprise Rent-A-Car was a phenomenal launching point of a career. I mean, they teach such great work ethic, uh, teach, great thing. It's a great organization to get started with. I would highly recommend it to anybody who, wants to get involved with something big. So
Great,
I worked
great
there for
management.
Oh, absolutely. Management training program is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And again, great work ethic. And you're usually with a bunch of people in the same kind of age group, so it's great camaraderie. And you work hard, you play hard, and it was a great experience. So from
Yeah,
there, I
no,
ended up latching on.
when I was working at the call center that I worked at, we loved hiring people who came from enterprise rent a car.
I mean, it's a lot of customer experience, customer care, a lot of attention to detail with the contracts and whatnot. You're dealing with cars, vehicles, and people's lives. So, and sometimes you're catching people at a tough time. They were just in an accident or their car broke down. So, you learn to empathize a little bit and, be a little attentive to their needs in that regard. But from there, I ended up catching up with a friend of mine who was in technology. And again, had you told me at this point in time in my life that I would eventually be senior manager of growth marketing at a tech, I would have laughed at you. I said, no way. But I joined up with him, started learning the ropes, and eventually got into sales. I worked on the sales side of the house for a company called LogicWorks. They got bought by Platinum, who got bought by CA. And yeah, that's how I got launched into technology. And I worked with this person at 5 different organizations, including Stybase and RSM McGladrey. And then just kind of, started finding my way through different routes in the organization of technology.
Yeah, no, that's great. So you were working in sales at LogicWorks?
Yeah, I did telesales. I was
Uh-huh.
an inside sales rep, smiling and dialing, and we didn't have, Zoom Info or LinkedIn or any of that stuff where you could do any kind of research. It was all smiling and dialing off a list that was generated by sales leadership to say, hey, these are the organizations. And yeah, it was crazy. I did that for a couple years and then ended up at a company called Actium selling reseller courses. So I sold Microsoft certification courses, your BP Win courses, your Power Builder certification courses. So all that stuff is what I was involved with.
That's it's actually kind of funny because your career tracks very closely with my career. I was working for a telemarketing company, but we were working on behalf of technology companies who would hire us to generate leads. And again, we were smiling and dialing. This is pre-Zoom info days, 1996 to 1999, et cetera. So yeah, that was very educational time. Very educational time. You kind of had to learn from the by the seat of your pants.
Yep. No, exactly right.
So so how did you so tell me about your transition to senior growth manager at BigPanda. Is that and by the way, is that really more focused on the sales side of things or on the marketing, or is it kind of a hybrid role?
It's more the marketing side of the house. So what happened was I realized doing those sales roles that I didn't necessarily have the stomach for sales. With the quotas and the pressure and the leadership always bearing down on you. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And I had some negative experiences that along the way, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. Let me shift to something similar. And I kind of fell into marketing. So my current role now and how it's been for the last probably 15, 20 years is around demand generation, awareness creation. So finding people for salespeople to sell to and help lather them up a little bit more. And it's funny how that's evolved over the years because now, with all the technology available, people they're doing more research. They're looking at more things on their own prior to getting any involvement with a kind of a sales organization.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What I mean, there's like a number that's been thrown around for the last few years. They claim comes from some kind of report that says that B2B buyers are usually about 60% down the funnel already by the time they actually talk to a salesperson. So I guess that's your role to kind of help them get to that 60%, right?
Exactly. Helping them down that path to make sure that they realize my solution is the one they need to consider as they get on the tail end of the decision-making process.
All right, perfect, perfect. So I was wondering if you can kind of tell me about what is your approach or philosophy right now in your current role regarding, demand generation? Are you doing a mixture of content and digital advertising, search, marketing, et cetera? Or, what's your approach?
Sure. It's a blended approach where we're leveraging, a bunch of different avenues to try to generate the awareness and get some people to raise their hands or to be more receptive to a call. So I'm in charge of our paid ads. So trying to leverage some, interesting messaging that's going to be relevant and bring value to the people that are going to click through, making sure I'm directing them to relevant content from that paid ad. I'm also running our field and channel marketing programs. So to try to work with, our reseller partners in that large community that has relationships that we could leverage, as well as our own hosted kind of activities that we do on our own. So those are the big things right now that we're pushing through, as well as some account-based marketing tactics to try to offer some more customized messaging to our top prospects.
Yeah, I was going to ask about account-based marketing, especially I guess when it comes to like those enterprise customers, those named accounts as they used to call it back in the day.
We have a tiered account list, tiers 1 through 3, that span across various verticals. So we try to hone in on the top ones to see, all right, what can be relevant messaging to these organizations to get them to be interested in taking that call or going to a next step.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. And so when it comes to like the paid advertising, are you doing paid like more search marketing type stuff on Google and Bing, or is it more like like on specific publications that your audience are going to be at, or kind of walk me through a little bit about the paid advertising part of that?
Sure. We have an agency that we work closely with that I manage, and we're predominantly focused on LinkedIn, Google, and Bing. And Microsoft. So basically that's where you're going to find a lot of the BigPanda messaging. It's somewhat, generic in nature as it revolves around Google, Bing, and whatnot. And we try to get a little more granular and specific as we get into LinkedIn because we're able to, right? Because we can identify the accounts, the level, the people, etc.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, just kind of like Facebook or anything Meta with LinkedIn. Obviously, you can get very, very granular with titles and companies even, right? And locations. Well, that's really cool. So you have a good mixture. You have a good mixture of I mean of paid advertising, partner marketing, and ABM. So walk us through a little bit about your how you manage all this, like your MarTech stack, I guess, if you will, to manage all the lead flow and to manage, I don't know if you have anything that like Bombora or anything that identifies visitors to your websites and can tag them or um, tell me a little bit about how, the tech stack that you're using or that you've used in the past, at other assignments that you've had, you know, to walk you to help you with this.
Absolutely. So for me, yeah, obviously you have limited time in the day, right? So you can't go after everybody. So easiest way to try to prioritize your list or whatnot outside of the tier 1 through 3 account list would be leveraging an intent tool like 6sense, right? So you go into there, you find the organizations, the different stages that they're in, and try to work to customize messaging towards the prospects in those stages. So referencing that up against the tier 1 accounts, seeing if there's anything vertically relevant or common with them amongst the organizations, so you can kind of peanut butter spread it a little bit, so not everything's one to one, because that doesn't necessarily scale. Right. So it's leveraging a tool like 6sense to do that. It's leveraging a tool like Mutiny to create customized landing pages for these high prospect or high profile target accounts that you're trying to get after. So I tend to go to a vertical nature in that regard. We have one built now for our financial services. We're in the process of doing one for MSPs. So, leveraging Mutiny to do that kind of motion.
Mutiny. Okay, so that's a landing page creation tool, and is it obviously you also have this with like a subdomain or something uh,
Yeah,
with
it'll replicate off your main website. So basically, it's essentially like driving them directly to your traditional, URL, your home-based URL. Just if the organization or the account fits specific parameters, so whether it's their URL where they're coming from, whether it's the account name that we're matching through or whatnot, um, it'll get directed to a curated experience for that subset of accounts.
got it. And so what is Panda's approach and your particular approach to you know to to getting leads, I guess, through landing pages? And do you use lead magnets? Do you gate them, or are they ungated? Or kind of tell us a little bit, because we've had people who have like had a mixture between, okay, one company definitely has gated content and they want to ask a whole questionnaire, and other people say, no, we don't gate our content. We don't believe in that. We don't want people to think they're going to get spammed all the time. So
Yeah, and I can appreciate both aspects. We have a blend of both here at this organization. Um, so for me and my Muni pages, it's all ungated because I don't need to gate it because I could see who's on there leveraging the tool, right? So I can have that information regardless. So I'm a fan of leaving it ungated as long as you have a mechanism to figure out who's been there and what they've been reading.
got
So
it, got it.
that's
And do
always
you
the
have
challenge, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And so do you have a way for them to like subscribe to anything so that you can, have permission-based marketing to them?
Oh yeah, we have sign up mechanisms to if they download different assets or whatnot, if they do leverage a content download form, they are subscribing to it, so opting in. And obviously they'll have the option to opt out as well. But yes.
Right, right. So what's CRM slash automation, you know, email marketing tool are you using? Or are you using like an all-in-one, like a Salesforce with Pardot or whatever? Or are you using like different, best in class tools, etc.?
We're currently using Salesforce blended with Marketo. We have Marketo that we do a lot of the email campaigns through, but it is tied closely to Salesforce, so they can do outreach sequences on the BDR side of the house. So, and we try to help enable that as much as we can.
Got it, got it, got it. So Salesforce with Marketo. and then you have 6sense. Is the 6sense data then integrated with Salesforce, so that's populated into the
Yes.
it enriches the record of each one of the clients or prospects?
Yeah, it's in there on an account level, so that way they'll know the account is in a specific stage, whether it's awareness, consideration, decision, etc. So
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Great. 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 And then what? Any other cool tools that you have in your Martech stack well, so you have Mutiny, and I'm sure Mutiny also is tied in somehow with Salesforce, I guess. Or
yes. Yeah, we like if we want to create dynamic lists or active lists, we can integrate with Salesforce to go after a specific subset of accounts when they hit certain criteria. So we can mesh that accordingly. And then we also use SEMrush, which is a neat tool, and I'm still getting the learnings of it, but to help with our SEO and keywords and whatnot. So to try to understand what people are searching for, how we can rank up to get them to find us in Google, but also to understand what they're looking for, and maybe these search topics become topics for a webinar or some kind of training or education session that we host.
okay, well that's interesting because this is the first time I've ever heard something like that before, where you're using people are using search information to help inform other pieces of content other than just what kind of blog post should we write so we can SEO optimize our website. So tell me a little bit about this process where you use the keywords as to inform webinar topics.
No, it's absolutely. So basically, if going into the tool, if you find out that 20 people are searching for, a certain topic, certain data set, and again, we haven't incorporated it yet. I'm sorry, this is all conceptual, but the net of it is people are going in there searching for AIOps, or they're searching for, automated ticket remediation,
Right.
or they're searching for a specific, and you find there's a pattern in these searches. I mean, if 10 people are searching for it, there's probably 20 more somewhere else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's never a situation where only one person has that question. So when you find that, consistency, when you find that pattern, that's definitely something that you want to promote actively and try to gain more awareness about how you can fix that specific business case.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So do you all do regular webinars?
Yeah, we have a regular cadence, a lot of thought leadership. We're in the process of deploying a more of an educational approach to them as well, to talk about specific functions of the product. In that we all know, somebody buys a product, it's usually for one specific business case, and that might be 40% of the functionality of the product, right? So how can we get them to leverage more, be able to do more with the investment they already made, and also help us with our stickiness, right? To, make sure that we're providing the more value than we actually promised from the beginning to this organization that made the investment.
Got it. So this is more, so the webinar series that you have, is that this more of a loyalty play as opposed to an awareness or lead gen play, right? Or is it a combination of both?
I'd say it's a combination of both. I mean, the more people that are educated about the product and the functionality and the capabilities, I think the more interest you're going to gather. So it will definitely help, again, as if existing customer base, existing organizations that have the product that can do more with it are going to be more inclined to tune in. But there's other people with genuine interest, that might want to learn a little bit more about how they can maybe do this certain thing in their organization. The flip side too is that the person who's working at, bank A today, maybe at bank B tomorrow. You know what I mean? There's, a lot of chance. So basically, if I can educate that person now, maybe they take that knowledge with them to the next place that they go.
Got it. Got it. Especially if the education helps them with some aspect of their job, right?
And that's just it. And that's always the question you need to ask. What value can I bring to you to help make your life easier, to maybe help you get a promotion? How can I do that for you?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, that's in fact there's a classic uh content marketing strategy formula that Joe Polizzi from the content who used to be with the Content Marketing Institute, he founded it and then he sold it. But he talks about how you got to create a content mission statement, and part of that content mission statement is, what is the takeaway that you want to deliver to your audience with your content above and beyond your product. And I think what you just mentioned right there kind of fits right in with what he talks about. So, um, so another thing I wanted to ask is how big is your team? Like, so you're the senior growth marketing manager. Um, how how big is the rest of the marketing team? How many folks do you have there with you?
Within growth and demand, there's three of us. So we are a lean machine.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
And so you guys are trying to do more with less, right?
pretty much, yeah. I mean, we're hyper focused on the things that we're doing to provide, again, as I'll keep saying it, to provide the most value to the organization.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So when you say the most value to the, are you talking about to your company, or are you talking about to the clients?
Yeah. So from my end, you know, we're of service to the sales teams, right? We are trying to create demand. We're trying to create awareness. We're trying to create buzz. We're trying to find more people for them to sell to, right? And people that actually want to be sold to, that have a genuine interest in the product or the functionality or the capability that we can provide, the business value that we bring to the table. So it is my job to try to find these people for our sales teams because sales is the straw that stirs the drink.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Of course. And being that, I mean, I assume that Big Panda is an enterprise sale, so
Yes.
you're having to not only attract initial leads, but also probably create valuable content assets to help the champion of the sale or the salesperson to be able to educate the rest of the buying team, whatever the decision-making team is. Right.
Yeah, we do work closely with, we have content marketing and product marketing, and we do work closely with them, again, with every step of the way to help create, accelerate, and convert pipeline.
Got it. Got it. And so do you also get involved with sales enablement as well?
Not as much, no. We have a dedicated team for sales enablement and do all the training, but we'll act almost as, I mean, we're enablers when we're doing our activities or whatnot. So we want to make sure that everybody who's within the organization understands the activities that are going on, not just, what and when it is, but, here's the deal. We're doing a lunch and learn. This is going to be the topic. This is who the presenter is. This is where it's going to be. This is the timing of it. And these are the people that you should target to attend.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I know you've been there 4 months, so I guess I wouldn't ask you this question that I'm going to ask you as it pertains to Big Panda, unless is applicable. But tell me about the most successful marketing campaign you've ever worked on, and walk us through how you put it together, why was it successful, and what were some of the results?
Sure. So still building that up here at Big Panda. I will admit that. Um, but previous life, and it's going to sound so simple, but I think sometimes we get away from simplicity. We try to overcomplicate things. But I launched an executive dinner series. Very, very simple, very straightforward, leveraging the popularity of our CEO, collaborating with sales to understand, okay, where do we have concentrations of prospects and in different phases of the funnel, right? So whether this is usually more mid to end of funnel, less top. So, all right, where's the concentration in these geos? How many, and then just putting together a dinner, trying to leverage relationships that we have with existing customers who may know these people we're trying to bring in, because birds of a feather do flock together.
Yes.
Um, and just collaborating, communicating, and having a clear definition of success, which is you don't need 30 people, right? It's like you need 8 to 10, maybe 12. You know what I mean? And then depending on where you're at, you got to manage your costs that way. So if in New York, you want a couple more people because it's more expensive to host it than, say, Dallas. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But we ran these throughout the country. We ran a series, I'll say, of about 7 of them. And consistently in every city, we generated 30 to 50x in pipeline based on the spend.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah. And it was phenomenal. And it was very well received. I mean, the first one was challenging because you got to handhold. Everybody was a little afraid. They're concerned. They don't want this to blow up. And I don't want it to either. But it's just, communicating, calming,
Yeah.
telling them it's going to be okay,
Yeah.
providing everybody the assets and the resources they need, and just dialing it up the recipe for success.
So you said something that kind of caught my attention there, leveraging your CEO's popularity. So was the CEO, and was which company was this with? Was
Oh,
this
this
with
was at Stack Overflow,
Stack
and
Overflow? I mean, that's a famous company.
it was a great experience. I had a wonderful 2 years there, and what was crazy is that I had just joined, and like within the first couple months, we had a big user group, a customer expo, And I'm walking around through lunch and everybody's taking selfies with the CEO. And I'm like, what the heck is this? This is insane. What's going on? Because I did, like, I'll admit, I'd never even heard of Stack Overflow before I started working there. It's more on the engineering side of the house.
Yeah.
But it just I couldn't believe how popular he was and how many people were clamoring for his attention. I'm like, wow, like we gotta capitalize on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hence the idea was born.
So this is really cool, and I assume the CEO kind of has his own personal brand that helped drive this, right? So how did you all promote this in the different cities where you went? Was it to the internal mailing list that you all had, or through social media, or you
No,
know?
it was a combination of a few different things. So it was, emails, everything was direct one-to-one invite. And some of the invites we actually, ghostwrite the email so it comes from the CEO. So working with the CEO's admin and driving her crazy and getting her lovely support. She was magnificent in helping us out with this. But we'd ghostwrite it and she would send it to these key prospects. And it would, look like a personal invite from the CEO saying, please come join me. I'm going to be in town. The invite was like 3 to 5 sentences.
Yeah,
Come network with your peers. Let's talk about the current business trends, the needs in the industry, some of the changes, such as ABC. Can't wait to see you.
that's
Simple.
great. And Stack Overflow paid for the dinner, right? They didn't have they did, okay, because I've been to one where a thought leader came through town and they say, hey, let's have a I'm doing these dinners from city to city, but it was kind of Dutch, so I thought, does that defeat the purpose of it, or something? But
Ah,
no, that's good to know that you did that.
no, we paid the cost. The only time I've ever done that was if we're doing it with federal or state government. We'd ask them for a donation at the door.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, yeah, because they don't want to have this sense of improv, or there's rules, I guess, about that. Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
They can't
So,
accept gifts.
and then did the Stack Overflow CEO go to each one of these dinners?
Yes, you did. And what's funny is the first one we ran, I'll never forget this. I got a smaller room because I just wanted everybody to be comfortable. So I'm like, you know what? I'll get a room for 12 people, and it'll be the CEO, CEO, it'll be the sales leader, and then it'll be 10 prospects, so 12 people in the room, everything will be fine. 12, I'm sorry, it was 11 customers, I think, showed up. We literally had to kick the sales leader out of the dinner.
No.
And
Oh,
it was just the CEO. It was not ideal. And the CEO was like, come on, we can bring in more chairs, right? I'm the CEO. We got to bring in more chairs. And they're like, we don't have the space. And I'm like, you know what? Great problem to have. I mean, I wish we could have accommodated, but you know what?
yeah.
I'd rather, have too many people than not enough. So the sales rep and the sales leader went out at the bar and they had dinner there. And it was the CEO just holding shop.
So the CEO definitely has star power there.
He was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. And no slides, no AV, none of that stuff. Just interaction.
Just conversations, right? And so
Yep.
by the way, what was the name of the CEO during the time you were there?
Oh, Prashanth. Prashanth, a very long last name that it's worse than mine. So,
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah, Stack. I mean, Stack. The only reason why I know about Stack Overflow is because you know, I've dared to venture into, you know, I don't know, PHP every now and then, or CSS when customizing WordPress websites myself, and so I'm one of those, marketers who knows enough about code to be dangerous, and so anytime I've Googled something, Stack Overflow has come up quite often. Anything about, oh, how do I write this code, or how do I do this, or even if it's simple HTML or CSS thing, Stack Overflow came up.
yeah.
So now I know that you work with Stack Overflow, and so that's pretty cool.
No, it was a great tool.
Yeah,
It was a fun organization.
it really is. It really is. And so tell me a little bit about your plans for the next 12 to 18 months. And I think it's really interesting that you've only been there for 4 months. And so this is kind of like, you're getting your feet wet over at BigPanda, et cetera. So how are you projecting your activities, your strategy, and also maybe any kind of MarTech purchases over the next 12 to 18 months without revealing proprietary information,
Yeah,
obviously.
no, totally fair. I mean, for me, the number one focus for me right now is to leverage the channel, our reseller partners in that community in a better fashion. So partnering up with our channel account managers who own the relationships and putting together, extended length plans on how we can leverage them and their relationships to help them grow their business while we scale ours as well. So that's first and foremost at the top of my list. Uh, and it's launching this educational webinar series. I think a lot of people need to know more about the product and the capabilities that it has. A lot of people hear AI or AIOps and either get scared or don't believe it. So it's like, all right, how can we show you that this is real, this is legit, this is an easy lift, and you can do it?
Right.
So hosting these educational type webinars to educate the masses is right there again, probably second on the list behind the channel community.
Got it.
So from a tech perspective, I think for me right now is just mastering what we have. I mean, the capabilities of Mutiny and SEMrush, I think, are going to be enough to keep me busy. That when you combine it with the technology of 6sense, just maximizing those investments that we're already making to see what I could do to help make an impact with the organization.
Got it. So, getting back to the whole thing about partners and partner marketing, I think that's very interesting because that's, what you're doing there is you're leveraging other people's audiences. But what kind of partners are these? Are these systems integrators that are trained, I guess, to customize or to implement BigPanda, or?
It's a combination of different ones. We have a lot of value-added resellers out there, so like Trace3 or WWT are partners of ours that we'll work with them, and again, feed each other, right? So if we have opportunities, and then maybe they already have a relationship in the account, and then whether it's just processing is simply on their paper, or whether it's leveraging the relationship that they have to help us get in the door. But we're training them, educating them on how to be self-sufficient with the product, so that way they don't need us all the way through. Although obviously we're going to be there to help out as need be.
Got it. So I guess BigPanda is pretty technical, right? If you're working with these technical partners.
To an extent, I wouldn't say it's overwhelmingly, but I mean there is some specifics that need to be monitored as you're deploying. Yeah,
Got
but
it.
I don't
Got
think
it.
it's anything remarkably challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're also going to be focusing on this webinar series and helping to, and also maximizing or optimizing the current MarTech tool stack that you have. You mentioned mastering and taking more advantage of SEMrush. So are you all doing your own SEO, or do you have an SEO agency that's helping you guys?
Now we do our own, and actually we're in the process of hiring a digital strategist who this functionality will fall to. So in the meantime, I guess maybe I'm just babysitting it for now until they get on board and then fully ramped up. So for me though, it's been fun because I've been a lot of field and channel throughout my career. So I always enjoyed the opportunity to learn something new, and
Yeah.
this has been a real kick for me.
So you may not have seen this, or you may have, but I've been hearing from a lot of different sources that traditional SEO is either dead or dying. In fact, I actually talked to a friend of mine who called me because he's looking for ideas for how to reinvent himself, because he actually ran his own SEO agency, and he also did, search engine marketing as well. And his business pretty much dried up. Are you seeing any changes because of AI and because of things like Perplexity and all these AI enhanced search tools with and changes in SEO at all?
You know what? So from my perspective, haven't seen too much change in that regard. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to go away. So to say it's dead, I think is an overstatement. Because like even with AI, and I mean, until it said I hesitant because we're an AI company, so we're gonna have to edit this piece out. But my ramblings. So the net of it is I think it's still going to be there, and it still needs. There's still going to be the basics. There'll still be, older people like me that haven't quite adopted all the AI technology that's available to them. So they'll still be old school. There's probably still people out there with phone books, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
those people will still exist, and you don't want to alienate them.
And and people are still listening to the radio.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and
Exactly.
people are still. My mother still gets the newspaper.
Well, and that's just it. And you never know. I mean, because a lot of that stuff is remarkably challenging to measure. I mean, we actually had a situation recently where We had to do a lot of Sherlock Holmes work here with my marketing ops people, in that we had an opportunity come through, and it looked like, they were served ads, and they went to our website, but they never converted from those spots. So now, from my perspective, you're saying, oh, well, why don't you just stop doing that stuff? Well, I would have missed this one, and
Yeah.
who knows what else I might miss. So I think it's just going to be that the same kind of thing with search engine and whatnot. I mean, you can't abandon it. I
Yeah.
don't think it completely goes away, because you might do some irreversible damage that you're not even aware of.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, very, very cool. So, before we go, I wanted to know if you're planning to do any CEO dinners at Big Panda, or is it a different approach? Is it a different kind of marketing that you're going to have to do? I guess it all depends on the product and the target market, right?
No, I mean, I could see us doing them. We have some execs that have some great popularity, and they're so smart here. We have a lot of sharp individuals that I think I'd be foolish if I were not to leverage their expertise and their incentive and whatnot. So we're actually going to host some executive functions coming up early next month in New York, when the execs come to town. So looking forward to doing that. And yeah, rinsing off and playing the playbook as close as we can. And like I said, I mean, when a CEO comes to town or a CIO comes to town, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to try to get a couple hours of their time to host some kind of function.
It's fantastic. That's great. Well, good, good, good stuff. Well, Dave, this has been a very stimulating interview, and I'd love to hear your perspective from, not just from your current engagement, but from the past, et cetera. And how can people find you? For example, I'm going to assume people can find you on LinkedIn if they want to ask any more questions, about Big Panda, et cetera. How do you spell your last name so that they can find you correctly? So it's Mike, Chim.
Nope.
No.
No, it's CHMI. So in Polish, it's Chmielewski. So I
Okay.
guess when they decided to Americanize it, they said, let's add a bunch of consonants at the front to really mess with some folks. But it's CHM is in Mary, Ielewski.
Perfect. Okay. So Mike Chmielewski, say
Chmielewski.
Chmielewski.
Chmielewski. Just like it's spelled.
Chmielewski. Yeah, people have a problem with my last name as well. It's Lavastida, but people call it Labatista. So I'm always having
Well,
to.
well, that's why my email is davec@bigpanda.io.
There you go. That you've made it easier on people. I think I need to think about doing that as well, making it easier for people.
I
Well, thank
begged for that. I begged a negotiator for that as part of my starting package.
well, fantastic. So, Dave, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see everybody next time in another episode of Martechify. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thanks, Fernando. Appreciate it.